All right, let me ask you another question. Let's go off this one. All right. What is, and this will be one for individuals, especially different sexes, to answer, but what's the most sexy thing that a person can do on a first date? Not sexual, sexy. Like what really makes you go, I really dug that. So obviously for the ladies answering, it'll generally be a date with a guy. For the guys, it'll be a date with a woman.
I don't really have an answer because it's kind of a combination of everything. I can't point to one specific thing that I'm looking for to go, oh my gosh, it's this. It's kind of everything.
Yeah, it can be just the one thing, but generally if the person shows selflessness and shows that
Like a generosity of some kind, you mean?
yeah, or that they're very considerate about you first before they make any decisions, kind of thing. So yeah, that is so.
What would be examples of that, Jessica?
Maybe okay, let's say you meet at a spot first, and then you're meant to make a decide on where to go next, and then he maybe looks down on your shoes and you don't have comfortable shoes, so let's put it on another date, or let's get you some shoes before we do. Do you understand? Because like those little tiny things, like no one would.
Chivalry.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's noticing. It's more than just chivalry, isn't it? Chivalry is normally thought of as a set of rules, but you're thinking about
noticing, like it's happened one time, and honestly, that was the first. I'm like, holy shit! And he had no idea, but I was like, oh my goodness! Like I started thinking of feeling things that I shouldn't feel for this guy. And it's stuck.
Yeah.
But it's not meant to be something you feel sexy, like, sexually drawn to someone for. But for me, that was the thing that actually made me start thinking more about him and wanting to have more time and spend more time to get to know him more. So that was the first thing that triggered that, okay, I actually want to get to know this guy. And I'm, continue dating him and stuff.
Examples as well. Something as simple as walking on the roadside on a footpath.
Yes. Yeah.
To protect you from the car.
Yeah, just little things. And I find also really like acknowledging waiters and things like that, just being kind, really, really kind. Because I've been, especially in London, like I'd be having dinner with some, really, really cool person. We've got a great connection, but then there's a dismissive attitude and you go, oh. And I put it down to a cultural thing, and then I was like, no, I think it's just a dismissive attitude. So it wasn't all that great. But yeah, little things, chivalrous things. I find it's the man showing that he's protective in a way.
Yeah, it's when you're on a date. I went on this date, and this guy was so attentive to what I liked that after the date at a coffee shop, he took me to what was it? A market that was a bit more upscale and had a lot of stuff that I enjoyed. And I said, how did you know to take me here? And he said, well, I just listened to what you were saying, and I worked out that you like these things, so I want to impress you and just take you and show you this place. Yeah.
So can I, because I'm wary of guys watching this, right? And I want to ask a question that I'm pretty sure I know the answer to anyway, but I want to ask it, right? Which is, you don't see that and think he's being a pussy and a bit of a pushover.
No, definitely not.
I assumed that was going to be the answer, but I had to ask, right? And the other thing is, right, we're not just talking about attraction like you might date him. That makes him more sexy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I saw you all nodding as Jessica was saying it. That's why I'm like, I want to make that really clear. Because even if this is just a date where you're not sure if it's going to be something more casual or if it's going to be something, that's still a good move, isn't it?
Yeah, it speaks to who the man is. I would go so far as to say an inattentive man, or someone who's, you're allowed to be a little bit nervous or anxious on a date, but to the point where you're not noticing these things, you're not listening, you're not doing all those sorts of things, I would rank a guy lower for that.
Yeah.
So it's more something that you notice and you go, oh, like, if a guy's doing it, you go, that. If he's not doing it and you go, I'm not quite sure what I'm feeling here.
it kind of shows that you can almost immediately start showing you that you can feel safe with the person. Something could happen to you and you know he's got you kind of thing, that he will always make sure you're okay. There's a thing with safety with women. If we don't feel safe, it doesn't have to be, protective kind of thing, but it ties around with so many little things that makes us feel safe with the guy. Okay, he thinks that with the shoe thing that I might, get blisters or something. That he, I can't explain it any further. I think I've explained it.
You explained it. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. No, brilliant example.
Well, all right. How about for you, Rob? If we switch the genders.
So I was listening to all that,
Yeah.
and from a man's perspective, it's like, from my personal perspective, is the exact same thing. So if I'm out with a woman and she's attentive of the things that I'm saying, if she's good to the waiter or waitress, if she seems to be just a good person, those things are very important.
Yeah.
And I've had women have moments of chivalryness with me as well. And I was super impressed and found it really sexy as well. What's a not too explicit example? Like, I had a couple of things come to mind that were really beautiful things. But one was, I did meet up with someone to have sex. We had a moment of passion, clothes were everywhere. And when we were finished, she picked up my shirt and put it on the back of the chair.
I love that. No, it's a small thing, but I
had to get back to work.
It's a form of being taken care of, though. It's a weird,
So it was like that bit of thoughtfulness of, wow, she cares about whether my shirt is wrinkled or not, when I go back for my meeting.
Yeah.
And to feel safe as well, to feel like you're not so judged, I suppose, and you have the opportunity to open up and show who you are and talk about your life and those sort of things. And she seems open to hearing your story without instantly putting you in some sort of box.
Yeah.
Because I've been put in various boxes. If I say that I've been married but are now divorced, you can see a woman's face just changed instantly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, no, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
Without hearing any more of what you have to say. So I do like that ability for someone to listen and to truly hear you. That's sexy.
It's interesting. Like when I'm listening to you, I'm like, yeah, those things are nice. But I feel like, I'll give my personal experience again. That's all I can do, right? I feel like I come across that quite a bit. Then that gets valued lower. Like I feel like I get that more easily from women than women will get that from men. Is maybe another way for me to put it, right? So while it matters to me, definitely, those little moments that really count though. When a woman does a little thing that just hits you in the spot, it's like, oh, I've been taken care of in a nice way. I definitely feel that. It's harder to come across that for me on a first date. Like, okay, if you're getting hooking up. But yeah, it's harder to feel that. I'll tell you what, for me, the two things for me that are sexy, and I use the word sexy, right? One is if I go on a first date, and it kind of comes back to the who pays or who puts an effort with things, right? And it's one of the reasons why I often don't like the idea of guys paying, because I don't feel like this is reciprocated. But if a woman's put in an effort to look nice for the date, it doesn't happen that often. It happens maybe half the time or less. Yep. Like she'll just come very, and I don't mean, see how you ladies are now, right? You knew you were going to be on camera. You're not like tarted up or anything, but you look nice, right? You're like, okay, I'm going to be on camera. I'm going to look nice with it. Like that. Does that sort of make sense? Where they're just looking, not, I've just come off, I was just doing my day-to-day thing. I went to the shops, now here I am. It's just a little bit different. And you can tell that effort when, yes, a lot.
Curious about that.
Yeah, that happens a ton. So that's one thing, right? As a guy, I appreciate it and I can tell, right? And also because I tend to put an effort to how I look a little bit. So the other thing that really gets me as a guy, and I don't know if you know this, like you feel this, but eye contact. Like just a little bit intense eye contact, a little bit more than normal. That just, Yeah, when I get that, something happens. It's like that. Yeah. Like, woo! Like, the blood's flowing better. There's something that a woman can give eye contact that she doesn't have to do anything else. It's like, okay. Yeah, I like that. That's a thing for
I
me.
feel like we had very intense eye contact while you were telling me that. And it felt
You
good.
Not the target market, but I'll take it, man.
I agree. I mean, I think that shows that they're, willing to have a level of intimacy with you and to connect with you, in that sort of way.
Yeah, and it belies a confidence. Like you were talking about, like the first sexual experience, right? And it can be if you're confident in what you want, right? But I think that's actually a part of it. Like if she can hold that intense a little bit, it's not insane or anything, not creepy, serial killer eye contact, but if she can do that, there's something in my brain that also says she's probably going to be confident sexually. I don't know. I'm not saying it's definitely linked, but that's what my brain says. It's like when a guy looks out for your shoes, like he would want to take care of me. He could still be a serial killer. I'm sure there's plenty of polite serial killers, right? But nonetheless, your brain tells you that. Yeah. And that's what I feel. Yeah.
I agree with the eye contact very much because when I started dating, I was very shy, and until one guy actually taught me how to do the eye contact, it's like, okay, let's get it on. It really turned me on. Actually, I learned there, and now when I go on dates, it's one of the things I look out for as well. I just did click until you actually mentioned it to me. It just like said, it gives me the sense that this man has confidence. He's confident with himself, and he knows how to be assertive. So that seems a bit sexy for me.
Yeah, he can see you or see into you. What is that saying? Into me, I see.
Into me, see.
Yeah.
Yeah.